Okay, we're going to be setting up a basic model in the Radiolink T12D, and the model we're going to be setting up is going to be the Radiolink D460 Turbo. So the first thing we're going to do, and I'm going to bring it in a little bit tighter on the transmitter here, but I want you to be able to see the switches too. So we're going to set it up in the transmitter first, and then we are going to bind up to the plane and test our configuration. All right, so let's begin. First, let's go into the transmitter menu, and we want to go into model, and I've got the turbo set up in another slot. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is select model 04, since I haven't used that slot yet. All right, and I want to go and I want to rename it. Okay, so first we need the backspace, what's already there. Okay, and then I want to go into caps. I want to select turbo. And I want to give it number 2. Okay, now one thing I always forget to do, don't forget, you've got to go down here and hit this check mark. Otherwise, it'll go right back to what it was. Okay, so we've got that. All right, so now let's go and select that model. Okay, so now you can see that we've selected Turbo 2. So let's back out of that. Let's go into timers. All right, so I want the timer to count up. I want my flight timer to be, and I'm just going to set up a single timer. This is going to be my flight timer, okay? And with the D460 Turbo, I want it set for 6 minutes. And for on and off, I want it to be throttle. Okay, and then on the threshold here, I want to set my threshold. I don't think I have any planes that I don't launch at least 50% throttle. So I don't want my flight timer to start until I'm ready to launch my plane, until I'm applying throttle. So I want to set my threshold for minus 5, okay? So if I set it for minus 5, that means my throttle has to be above 45, minus 45. In other words, close to 50% throttle. 50% throttle would be 0, right? Because it goes plus 100, 0, minus 100 on your throttle range. So 0 would be 50% throttle. I want to set 5 below that, so that's be a minus 5. So I'm going to have to apply more than 45% throttle before my timer starts, okay? That's what I want to do. And then to reset it, I want it to be, I'm going to set it for switch B, and I want it to be in the middle position. Okay, that's going to reset my timer. And then my alarm, yeah, I want my alarm to be on. I want it to let me know when my 6 minutes has elapsed. All right, so let's test that out, okay? If I apply and watch how much throttle I'm going to apply here. I'm getting closer to mid-stick, and watch this counter as I get above 45. Okay, so as I get above 45, all of a sudden my timer starts. All right, so as long as that timer is started, it's going to continue to run until I use my midpoint on my B switch here that resets it. Okay, so that's what I want. All right, so let's back out of that screen. And now let's go into our model settings. And let's go into our rate and our curves. All right, so I'm trying to go by memory here. So channel 1 is aileron. I want to set up exponential too, so my expo. My rate I want to set at 80%. Dual rate for aileron. And for expo, I want to set that at -70. Okay. All right, so now I want to go back up and I want to set my dual rate and expo for channel 2, which is my elevator. So my elevator, I want 85% dual rate. And for my expo, I want -70 again. They're big control surfaces. You need big movement for a 3D plane, which means you need a lot of expo in order to smooth out near mid stick. Okay, so now I want to go. Now I want to go to my rudder. Get back up here. Rudder, channel 4. And I want 100%. And I want about 40% expo on my rudder. Okay, so we've got our dual rate and our expo set up on all channels, aileron, elevator, and rudder. Okay, so we're going to back out of that. And then we're going to go to throttle hold because we want to set a throttle safety switch. I always recommend that you set up a throttle safety switch to protect yourself. And I also recommend when you're setting up a plane or recalibrating a gyro, remove the prop from the motor. Okay, I have my prop removed off of the D460 turbo here. So let's go into throttle hold. And for my switch, I want it to be my 2-position switch over here, D. So I want D. In the up position. This means it's going to be active. You can see where the state here, it shows that it's on. All right, I'm going to go to throttle. I'm going to set it for 100. Okay, and then down here, I'm going to go to channel 3, which is my throttle channel. All right, and then it's showing down here -100, right? Correct? Okay. So right now my throttle safety switch is engaged. If I flip the D switch down, you'll see that the state is no longer active, which means I now have throttle, right? I'm going from -100 to +100. I got full range of throttle. If I flip the switch back up, you'll notice that the state is now active. And now when I move my throttle all the way up and all the way down, nothing happens, right? So my throttle safety switch is now engaged. Okay, so let's go back. And I want to back out to the channel monitor just so that we can verify from the channel monitor. Okay, so channel 3 you can see right now is at -100. And if I move my throttle stick, I'm not getting any output in the channel monitor on channel 3. If I remove my throttle safety, and now I move it, I'm going from -100 to +100. Engaged again, and my throttle safety switch is back on. That's exactly what I want. Okay, now the Radiolink D460 Turbo has a BIME DB in it, okay? And the BIME DB gyros for Elevon mixing only, but it does the mixing internally in the gyro. So when you set up a plane with the BIME D or the BIME DB, you're going to set it up as a normal plane. Okay, you're not going to set up any mixing because because the gyro already does that for you. All right, so let's back out of that and let's reset my timer that was still going. And let's go back into the menu here. Go into model settings and go into type and make sure that our type is just a normal plane, which is what's highlighted. So that's good. Okay, so let's go back into our basic menu settings, and I want to go into aux channels. And what I want to do is I want to set nothing to set for channel 5 right now, and channel 5 is what is going to change the modes on the BIME DB gyro. So I want to set up channel 5 on my switch C from my modes. Okay, I always use the right hand 3-position switch for my modes. That's what I'm used to doing. You can set it up for anything that you want, but what I'm going to do is set that up for switch C. So now if I go back out to my channel monitor now, okay, and I'm going to move this 3-position switch on C. You should see it change on channel 5. Right now it's minus 100, 0, plus 100. Okay, so it's reading all 3 positions of the switch on channel 5, which is exactly what I want. And when the switch is all the way up, it's minus 100. Minus 100 is going to be fully stabilized on the gyro. The center position is going to be gyro mode, wind mitigation mode. And all the way down is going to be plus 100, which is going to be full manual mode. So we've got our throttle cut working. We've got our timer working. We've got all modes of our gyro working. I think we've set up our dual rate and our expo. We've set up the type. And let's go into our receiver menu now. And we want to go into our failsafe. I want to set up my failsafe. So on channel 1, I want it to level out, right? The ailerons I want at 0. That's the center position. The elevator I want leveled out. That's 0 for the center position. The channel 3, which is the throttle, I want the throttle cut completely off. So I'm going to put that down to minus 100, which will cut off the throttle, right? Zero amount of throttle. Got that. Channel 4 is my rudder, and 0% is the center position. That's what I want. But I want it to switch my gyro back into fully stabilized mode if I lose contact with it, right? I want the throttle to shut off, but I want the gyro to keep it nice and level as much as it can so that it's not damaged when it comes down. So for fully stabilized mode, channel 5 needs to be minus 100. There we go. So now that and we will test this, now that I have that all set up in the transmitter, everything's programmed in the transmitter, my failsafe is set up. Now we're going to go into the RF settings. All right, and I'm going to set it for version 1, which is going to cover the R8XM, which is the receiver that's inside this plane. Okay. So we've got it set up for version 1, FHSS version 1, servo speed for 14 milliseconds. I don't need any sub IDs or anything. All right, so now we're going to back out of here. I'm gonna zoom out of here with the transmitter and the plane. We're going to bind up to it, and then we are going to test and make sure everything is working the way it should. Okay, it's time to test our configuration on the Radiolink D460 Turbo. So let's go ahead and power it up. And the first thing I want to check is the throttle cut. All right. So let's go ahead and bring our transmitter up here a little bit where we can see it. And you should be able to see the aircraft. All right, so you can see that I'm bound up to it. I've got full bars up there on top showing that it's bound up. I don't have any throttle because the throttle safety switch is on. So let me turn off the throttle safety switch. And I don't know if you can see the motor spinning, but you can certainly hear it. All right, so that's working. Our throttle safety switch is working just fine. All right, and that's also started my timer, so I'm going to stop my timer, reset it. All right, so I'm going to flip the plane around now so you can see the control surfaces, because what I want to test is that everything is moving in the proper direction, everything is correcting in the proper direction, and that our gyro selection is working as it should. Okay. First, what I want to do is check our ailerons. All right, So left stick brings the left aileron up. Right stick brings the right up. Now let's check our elevator. Pulling the elevator back brings them up. Pushing the stick forward, pushes them down. That's the way it should. All right, so it should be in gyro stabilization mode right now. So let's check that. Make sure that our surfaces are correcting in the proper direction, and they are. All right, so I'll nose it down a little bit, and they're coming up. Nose it up, they're going down. Okay, so all of our control surfaces are moving and correcting in the proper direction. All right, so now what I want to do is check my gyro mode. So right now it should be in gyro mode, which is wind mitigation mode. All right, so it's not going to auto level, but it will correct for wind changes, okay? And that is working just fine. All right, so now I'm going to put the gyro selector in full manual mode. And I have a lot more movement on the control surfaces now in full manual mode. And I don't have any gyro input. The servos aren't doing anything, not even wind mitigation. All right, so that worked fine. Okay, so all that's working. All three modes of the gyro is working. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to test failsafe. Okay, so I have it in full manual mode. All right, so when I put it in the failsafe, I'm going to spin up the motor. I'm going to actuate the elevons. I'm going to shut down the transmitter, and I'm going to leave the gyro mode in full manual mode. Now, when I shut down the transmitter, it should shut down the motor. It should put the elevons back into the neutral position like they are now, but it should also switch the gyro into full stabilization mode so that if I do lose contact with the aircraft, it will glide down nice and soft. All right, so let's go ahead and remove our throttle safety switch. I've got the motor spinning. I'm going to actuate the elevons, and I'm going to shut down the transmitter. Okay, so you could hear the motor just shut off. You saw that the control surfaces went back to neutral. The transmitter is completely off. All right, so now let's see if it actually is in gyro mode, even though I have my selector in manual mode. So when I shut it down, it was in manual mode. Okay, and look at that. If you look at the control surfaces are being corrected. It is in fully stabilized mode. It's automatically switched into fully stabilized mode when failsafe kicked in, which is precisely what we wanted. Okay, so we'll go ahead and flip our switches back up into the default position so the transmitter doesn't complain. We'll bring it back up, wait for our bars. Now we got full bars again. So as you can see, we're connected back up to the plane again. Okay, so everything worked perfectly. All right, so we've got everything set up, including our failsafe, our gyro modes, our throttle safety switch, our timer reset, dual rate expo, everything that we need set up to test this plane has been set up. All right, so stay tuned. As soon as I have the weather, we'll be testing this plane with our setup that we just performed with the Radiolink T12D transmitter. That's a wrap on this episode. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time in the Tinkerz Lab.